Good morning. This is City Council meeting for February 28th. Comes to order. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Came out in the rain. Impressive. Perfect. All right. Madam Clerk, let's start with prayer. We're going to do a little something different moving forward. We have a team of chaplains, police chaplains here in the city, and I've asked as many that are available to do the prayer for us, so, you know, at the head of the council meetings, so that you guys can get to see them and that we can get to meet them as well. So,
Do you want me to do it?
yeah, would you announce her, please?
Okay, we have Reverend Hilda Campbell, who will be doing the prayer this morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's all rise.
And just because I want you to understand that God uses everyone, in the book of Judges, Deborah is asked to go to war with Barak. And that's because women are included in the warfare that goes on in our cities and for protection of our people. Lord, we bless your name, God. And we seek your face, we seek your arm to cover your people. We ask that you will empower us to make a difference in the lives of those who look to leaders to be exemplary in their actions and their choices and their mode of operation. We ask that you will guide every step that they take, every move that they make, every decision that they take. And we ask that you will give them insight, courage, and determination to change the city, the citizens, and the leaders of our community. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilors Green,
Present.
West,
Present.
Davis,
Present.
Mayor Roots.
Present. We be doing the announcements?
Okay.
Okay.
You want to approve the minutes first?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Can I approve?
Oh. So, it's not a motion, is it? No. So approval of the minutes of the January 20, oh, ask. We're going to take a vote on the approval of minutes for January 24th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
I have to do the roll call.
Roll call?
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Announcements. City Council met in executive session on Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. Woodland Pharmacy will be sponsoring a COVID-19 RSV flu and booster shot clinic in the City Hall computer room from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's today. Widener University students will be providing blood screenings in the City Hall lobby. The second annual Women's Health Conference will be held at St. Luke's Church on March 23rd, 2024.
Okay. Before we move on, Mr. Solicitor, if you recall, what was the purpose of the executive session on the 20th?
I believe there was a legal matter we discussed.
Okay.
So, public comment.
Public comments? Public comments on agenda items only. I understand you understand.
All right. For appointment to Planning and Zoning Director, please say a few words about why you hired Patrick, I might say it wrong, Osei for this $90,000 to $100,000 position. For the awards citywide parcel condition survey, please say a few words about why you selected Cyclomedia for this award to be paid up to $94,000. For the lease agreement with Educational Data Systems, Please discuss if EDSI is working as a Chester City and/or Delaware County effort, along with how EDSI is funded and how successful you have found EDSI in supporting local residents in training and employment. Please explain the total space EDI is leasing at 160 7th Street, and how much EDSI is paying the city for that lease, and what will change in this relationship if this resolution is passed. I also want to say something about the minutes. There were no online minutes for these twice-monthly public meetings for 2024. Therefore, we cannot evaluate or question the minutes from last meeting before you, or even after you approve them. This is in violation of the spirit, if not the letter, of the PA Sunshine Act Open Records Law. Please put minutes on your Chester City Council meeting webpage before the next council meeting.
All right, thank you. What you just read from, all the questions, could you share them with us and we'll get answers for you? You can email it to me or give me that sheet right there. And as far as the minutes are concerned, you're correct, they should be on the website, so we'll double check and make sure they're on there, and if they're not, we'll make sure they're on there in the future, so apologize for that.
Mayor, executive session meetings, there's nothing online about that.
There's no record, no written or otherwise recorded record of an executive
I just
session.
want to be clear. It's just the council meeting minutes.
Council meeting minutes, correct.
Okay.
Write your email address on there so we can respond to you. All right. Get it rolling.
Resolution. Whereas the City of Chester hired Patrick Osei for the position of Director of Planning and Zoning, Department of Community and Economic Development, effective March 1st, 2024, for 37.5 hours per week, with no benefits and a 60-day probationary period. And whereas said employment is contingent upon said individual successfully completing a 60-day probation from the date of hire, and whereas the city is required by law to offer said employee medical benefits after 60 consecutive days of employment, which is completed on April 30th, 2024, and now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve. Further, if said employee fails to meet the job expectations within the 60-day probation, said employee will no longer be eligible for the position and will be subject to termination from said position.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution. Whereas the City of Chester made a request for proposals for the citywide parcel condition survey, ARPA project number 41 through PIN bid, with proposals due on December 22nd, 2023, and whereas the city has complied with all PIN bid use requirements, and whereas the sealed proposals have been tabulated by the RFP Review Committee with no discrepancies found, and they have provided their recommendation. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby award the citywide parcel condition survey, ARPA project number 41, to Cyclomedia, for which proposals were received through PIN bid in an amount not to exceed $94,000 to be paid from American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds under project number 41. Further, said contract is contingent upon the final review and approval of the city solicitor.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Roll.
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes, yes.
Resolution. The Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the city solicitor to direct council to withdraw the appeal of the court's order denying the elected officials objection to the Chapter 9 bankruptcy case number 22-13032 filing.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? I guess it's my turn. This was the topic that came up, the legal topic for the executive session. So what happened between the executive session, deliberative, and now, Mr. Solicitor?
What about it?
Why is this withdrawn? Oh, we're drawing the appeal.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
If you want me to, just since the
Yes,
question's
could you
asked.
please?
For the record, I think it's common knowledge that a Chapter 9 bankruptcy was filed by the receiver on behalf of the city. City council had filed an objection because they were not the ones that filed it. This city council has withdrawn that objection. That's what that resolution means.
Perfect. Roll.
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution. Whereas Educational Data Systems, Inc. entered into a lease agreement with the City of Chester dated November 7th, 2002, for the lease of approximately 2,684 plus square feet of space at the premise known as 160 East 7th Street. And whereas Amendment Number 1 to the lease expanded the lease space to include an additional 4,023 square feet for a term to coincide with the existing lease and subject to the terms and conditions of the existing lease. And whereas Amendment Number 2 to the lease allowed for the temporary lease of an additional 2,382 square feet of usable space in as-is condition beginning October 1st, 2017, and ending November 30th, 2017. Whereas Amendment Number 3 to the lease allowed for the temporary lease of approximately 8,990 square feet rentable space and the lease of additional space on the first floor consisting of approximately 1,320 square feet beginning February 1st, 2018, and ending January 31st, 2023. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the proper city official to execute an addendum to the original lease agreement between the City of Chester and Educational Data Systems, Inc., for the lease of space on the first floor consisting of approximately 10,310 square feet rentable space with the use of all common areas and all public restrooms and permitted public parking on street and/or municipal parking lot to the outlined terms and conditions for the annual amount of $108,884.50 for a term of 5 years beginning February 1st, 2024, and ending January 31st, 2029.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Mayor, may I?
Please.
So, if many of you not know, EDSI, they're located on the first floor of the police department. What I will say about EDSI, they are big in the city and for this community. They are a program that also assists for individuals that are trying to find a job that have prior incarceration. They have job fair. They just had Monroe Energy there. So are they giving back to this community? They are. Are they assisting residents in need who might have made a mistake? They are. So I will tell you this, being the head of the police department, I do support EDSI being there. Thank you.
Thank you. And as you read from the resolution, we're not giving them anything. They're paying close to $9,000 a month in rent, for the space that they're using. So that's important to know as well. Any other comments, questions?
Councilors Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes. That concludes the resolutions for today. And as council, does anyone have any old business they'd like to bring up? Hearing none. Any new business you want to share? None? Okay. Well, I'll just share one thing. I want to thank council for approving the hire of our new planning, zoning, and community and development person. I just happened to be in on the interview of this person. He is super highly qualified, and we had to get creative in combining a couple jobs for this person to do. To your comment the other day, Council Lady West, we're having a lot of people do multiple jobs around here, and that's absolutely true, and that's absolutely important, and it speaks to the quality of people that we're bringing in and the capacity of people that we're bringing in, and the savings that getting good people who can do, you know, more than one titled job, at least to get us started, is really important for us. So I'm looking forward to, oh, go ahead.
Mayor, I'm getting a little confused, though, on, you know, some things come before council in terms of new hires, and some things do not. So I just like to know, what can council vote on, and what are the things that don't need council's approval or vote, you know, in terms of employees, hiring employees, appointed, whoever. I'm so confused.
Well, you shouldn't be. I think any new hire will come before council for their consideration, but based on the Commonwealth Court and Supreme Court rulings, we don't have the final say as council. So if, in fact, we vote in a way that the receiver deems otherwise, then it will be, you know, with the powers vested in him, making a decision. But the
So
whole,
he didn't get to have a say in this, the planning and zoning. I
well,
mean,
we're first. You know, if we agree with it, we don't need him. Am I right, Mr.?
I think that's a fair representation of
if we all agree,
of the powers.
if we all agree, we don't need
If you all agree,
receiver's
absolutely.
intervention.
If you all agree and he agrees.
Oh, he agreed with this as well.
So if there was a scenario where we didn't agree, you can expect that there would be a meeting between us and the receiver so that we come to an agreement. Now, whether that agreement is to, in this case, hire the person or not, that would be held in that subsequent meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. That's understood, right? You guys got that? Okay. It's public comment time. Do we have the list? It's up there? Thank you. Did anyone come in after that would like to comment? David, you're back.
I'm putting on record that everyone has 3 minutes, and I'll be keeping time.
Thank you.
Stephen Gretzky became police commissioner October 2020. The PA Auditor General reported in 2014 and 2016 on the city police pension that the city's practice of basing pension benefits on the final 12 months' earnings, including overtime, vacation, sick, and personal days, has resulted in a benefit for some retirees of double their final salary. That's quite the deal. A police officer could work 20 years, retire at 38, have a salary of $50,000, and receive $100,000 per year, including medical coverage for the rest of that officer's life. For those of us receiving Social Security, at best, we end up with 40% of our last year's earnings, whereas some police officers have received 200% of their last year's earnings. Mr. Gretzky did nothing about this astronomical pension benefit that the city cannot afford while he was police commissioner while the city became bankrupt. In September 2021, the police had a no-chase policy where they were not to pursue other vehicles. A black teenager named Baha Green was driving a car that was reported stolen. The police rammed that car from behind, forcing the car Baha drove into a pole. I've been in a car that was rammed from behind, hard enough that the driver could not stop the car. I was lucky. The airbags in that car worked. The airbags worked on rocket fuel, which got me sick and tired, so I needed to force myself out of that car. Baja exited the vehicle on his own and surrendered to police. The police did not offer him medical assistance. Instead, 2 police officers held his arms, while the third, a white police officer, punched Baja repeatedly. To me, this was a police assault and a hate crime. The 3 officers had no consequences to them. They were not suspended, they were not assigned to desk duty, they were not prosecuted. And still they remained and may still be free to patrol the neighborhood, free to assault whoever they want. Mr. Gretzky, to my knowledge, did nothing about this injustice to Baja Green. Mr. Gretzky's governing of our police force allowed officers to violate procedures and commit crimes in our community. Therefore, I ask the mayor or whoever here is in charge to fire Mr. Gretzky and appoint someone who will do a better job. Thank you.
Thank you. S.J. Dennis.
Good morning, Mayor and Council and
Morning.
Chester residents. I have 3 issues. My first one is, first, I want to thank the receiver, I wish he was here, for making the changes so that people can get into the MFRAC meetings.
He is here.
Oh, is he? Okay, well, anyway. Oh, there he is. Thank you. So I want to thank Mr. Dill for the explanation that he gave, and so that,
Dowry.
no, Mr. Dill is the person who actually went through the information on the website. So, but that was well and good, except for people who don't know how to use that, because the explanation was given after you got into the system. So it should have been before you were able to get into the system for the people who didn't know. But that's just a comment. I just want you to make sure that you thank Mr. Dill for what he did.
Oh, hold on. I think our receiver needs to hear that. He was halfway in the door when
Oh,
we started.
okay. But I hope it doesn't take away from my time, because I got some other things.
Let's put her on pause.
Okay, okay, thank you. I wanted to thank you for having Mr. Dill do the explanation on how to get into the system if you're not a Facebook person and you don't have an account. And that was wonderful. His explanation was very good, but it was after you get into the system. I think that it needed to be before you get into the system so that people will know exactly how to do it. My other thing was also that maybe we can get it on Channel 5 in real time for people to see it. The MFRAC meetings are very good. They give you a lot of information. So being transparent for other people, I think that would be very good. Thank you. The other thing is, there was an article in the paper, the Philadelphia Inquirer, on February the 20th of this year, and it dealt with pothole repair set for region's state highways. Well, it seems everything stops when you get to Chester. I mean, they're going to do Aston, Upper Chi, Lower Chi, Upper Darby, everywhere, Media, all these places. 291, they're going to stop in Ridley and Tinicum. That's where it's stopping. So nothing on 291 for Chester. They're going to stop 352 on Middletown Road in Middletown, Brookhaven, and come as far as Parkside, but not Chester. And so, you know, I was just wondering what the story is with that. And on 322, they're going from, on the Conchester, which is definitely in need of it, they're going to Concord, Bethel, and Upper Chichester. But what about, you know, coming down as far as Chester? So I guess that has something to do with the fact that we can't get the Lloyd Street Bridge fixed. My third thing has to do with the shutdown of the city. I understand that we had a power outage and the city was shut down, and that's something you have no control over. But to shut down the city because people aren't here from a certain area, I don't understand that. Okay, and those are my 3 issues, and thank you so very much.
Thank you. Miss Livia Smith.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I noticed, lost my darn page, hold on. I noticed on the The agenda, once again, has nothing, you don't have anything about approving financial information. When I go to Delaware County and look at their agenda, they have on there, request by the Controller's Office of payments of current bills. So every municipality has something on there that deals with payment of current bills, except Chester. Now, in the third-class city code, in section 1013, it says, payments not authorized by law. No ordinance shall be passed providing for the payment of any money by the city without previously authority of law. Any officer drawing or countersigning any warrants or passing any vouchers for payments not authorized by law or making any payment shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, and upon conviction, therefore, shall be sentenced to pay a fine not exceeding $5,000 and undergoing imprisonment not exceeding 1 year. I need for y'all to look into that as far as the fact that you do not have that information on your agenda for approval of payments. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cotman.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council. Good morning. I'm here on two different things. One is this. Both of them is basically the safety of the city. I've been riding around. The police have the new body cams. I'm thankful the city has them now. From the city, on council, and Commissioner Gretzky, they're really working. I have talked to a couple of different officers that said they love them. They just trying to get the upgrades of them. So that's a great thing that we do have them now in the city of Chester. The other thing is I'm here about the safety of the city. My biggest issue is the housing authority. Are we in a connection with the housing authority for their camera system? My brother got killed almost 8 months ago down the Wilmington Project. To come to find out, their camera systems do not work down there. Is there any way that we could that the council, the commissioner could sit down with the housing authority and Mr. Fisher and see what is going on with their camera system? It's been out for years, and the detective said if the cameras was working, they would have found out who killed my brother down there. They killed him and shot his 2 sons in the mix of it. So what can we do as a city and as a commissioner to find out what can work to get them cameras down each project? We talk about the safety of the community, but if we have cameras that's not working, where's the safety at?
Thank you a lot. Mr. Nelson, Edward Nelson.
Morning, morning, Mayor, Council,
Morning.
fellow residents. I ain't really got nothing to say. I just seen everybody mean. Well, we just don't smile. Like, this is not, it ain't that deep. Like, it's
Chester
okay.
High lost last night. We're still in pain.
Well, if they would have, that $10,000 shooting gun that I donated, that they didn't put up, that's still on the back, what is it, deck, maybe it would have helped their jumper.
All right,
I'm just saying. So you walk right into that one. But but anyway, I really didn't want nothing, but I want Gretzky fired because he walked past me, didn't speak. And that's it. Just everybody just woosah. I want to thank council and the city controller that y'all at least sitting down and talking. And we can all put our hands down and let's work together and get him out of here. And I think that's the role we on. And you young men up there, y'all look great, man. I'm just proud of y'all. That's all I want to say. That you don't have all the answers. Just ask and you will receive. And anything I can do, I ain't that bright, but anything I can do, just give me a call.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm still calling her Council Lady Elizabeth Williams. Once a Council Lady, always a Council Lady.
Council. How are you today?
Morning.
I would like to know, are the council people, or were the council people giving back their directorship? Well, there's something, because that's part of your duty that comes with the program. And for your rights, right now, your rights are being taken away. The whole city of Chester rights are being taken away. The 14th Amendment, we have the right. They taking your civil rights. They taking all the rights that they could take away from the city of Chester. And I really, really think that's bad, because if they start it now, what about our children and our grandchildren? Is it always going to be that way for the city of Chester? I don't know any other municipality out here that has that taken away from them. And basically because, and I don't care whether people are like it or not, but because we're African Americans, okay? Doesn't matter who the taker is, but it's all about African Americans. And what I want y'all to know, before I left here, I had 33 parks. That's what I was over. And they were cut every month, all 33. In the middle, when they came, they took down the 5 parks, the big parks. What about the little parks? Payroll, my payroll had never been messed up. When they came in, payroll was messed up. Last month, I got a call from my insurance company telling me that my insurance from the city had not been paid for 4 months. 4 months they had not paid our insurance. I never had that happen before. I've been here 12 years. That didn't happen before. So it's just something to think about. How are these people doing so greater than what we've done? Then they want to change the law. What's the problem? This is a law book, the third-class city law book. Why are you around trying to change the law? This comes from the big people and the old people, okay? You have to have experience. You got to get old to write something. To me, this is what I use. When I was here, this was my Bible. And I followed the rules and I followed the law. So I'm just asking my people here, don't let them take us back to slavery, okay? Because that's where it starts. Don't let them take you back to slavery. I'm one of the first ones that was over there in that Upland School District, got beat up every day because I wanted to go to school. So people can frown or whatever, but reality, it's coming back, y'all. It's coming back.
Thank you, Council Lady. Come on, come on. Now you know the meeting starts at 10.
Well, I'm doing something very important. I couldn't come.
Well, this is very important, but go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening. How y'all doing? And then since I'm late.
I should just give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, I
Go
don't care if
ahead.
you don't give me about a half a second. I don't need that much no way.
Take your hat off as well. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I'll take it off. Ain't no problem. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, when I come over here today about, I want to know, like we got this drainage all through the city of Chester. Who over the drainage in this department? Somebody have to be, a council member have to be over that.
We're not over anything.
No? Well, that's the first to me. Because somebody got to be with Delco and this stone drainage. You can't walk out the door anymore. I walk out the door this morning, it smell like human waste. That don't make sense. And the money we paying them people, they just went up to $32 a month on people. Hell, these poor people got to pay that kind of money, and they ain't getting no service. How you gonna clean a drainage with a dustpan and a broom, a stick broom for a house? You need shovel, you need vacuum trucks, See, I know what you need to do that. And so somebody got to step the foot to the plate. I need to cut some of that out. We paying 2 drainage. Really don't pay it. Ada Stone right there in the back of us don't pay it. Chichester don't pay it. Toby Farm them don't pay it. I went to 7 different places yesterday and asked people, do they pay that money? They don't pay it. Wilmington, every place where black folks at and poor people, they paying that. Wilmington, Delaware paying it. Baltimore paying it. Georgetown, Maryland paying it. They didn't put it in Alexandria, Virginia. That's where you're supposed to start out from, Alexandria, Virginia. I went to different places this week and checking on that. Delaware pay, I think if you got a minutes, you pay $3. And if you got a house, you pay 10. That's in Wilmington. But you go out in the suburb, they don't pay you. Mr. Mel, so what you all gonna do about that? Who over there? I have to ask you, you the boss.
Well, this is public comment, so continue. You got 43
Well, no, I'm
seconds.
not talking about the minutes now. I'm talking about what's important to your health.
I understand, but you're in public comment time.
no.
You got 36 seconds.
Well, see, you got to wait for you to answer the question, though, too.
I'm not answering questions.
Okay.
Public comment.
Okay,
Not
so,
a question and answer. What's your
So
comment?
another thing, like about the trees, that tree over top of my house, out of that man yard on the corner, and limb falling on my house to make it leak, and I just put a new roof on. Who is the inspector here? I ain't seen an inspector since leak, bushfire, and urban lost them. I ain't seen an inspector here since. Do y'all have them?
Yes, we do have inspectors.
Well,
Your
tell-
time is expired. Thank you. for your
Okay.
comments.
Sir, can you
I don't-
give your name and your address?
I don't have no problem with that.
You can just put it on here. Pass that down, Twain, please. All right, that is everyone that was on the list. I'm going to begin to address some of the comments and maybe even answer some questions.
Well, we need that, but definitely.
With regard to the pension issue that you talked about, that was not brought on by Police Commissioner Gretzky. That was the parole board who changed the pension formula. What you were referring to is commonly called spiking, where officers would get a lot of overtime in that final period of time, whatever was allowed, depending on where you are on the calendar. What is no longer allowed, thanks to the receiver, is that they no longer will, the pensions are no longer calculated on the last year's salary. It's calculated on the last 3 years. Thank you. For those that did receive, if you will, inflated pensions based on their last year of salary, they were recalculated, and they now are receiving pensions based on the last 3 years of their average salary. I think there were 19 or 20 people in that category. So moving forward as of, I don't know the exact date, but it's been well over a year, all police pensions are calculated on the final 3-year average salary. S.J. Dennis, you had questions about MFRAC. It is now on the, I don't know the channel numbers, but it's on our city channel, but it's not in real time. We can't do it in real time, so we're putting the recording on Channel 5. Or I think it's one channel for Verizon, another channel for Comcast. I'm not sure which is which. And we're definitely moving forward to utilize that channel a lot more. You're going to see the city council meetings on there. The school board has their own channel. So we are looking to make that channel worth watching. I think it was the last meeting or the meeting before, Ms. Shelton had made mention that she watches the channel, but there's nothing on the channel. Traditionally, it's only been that PowerPoint presentation that just rotates with that funky, cool jazz backbeat. We're moving to make that if not well, not so much live content, but content that people need to see on a rotating basis. So MFRAC meetings, city council meetings, and other content that mayor, council, and other departments would want to put up there. It's 24-hour, it's free to the city. The only thing we can't do is do anything for profit, so it's, can't put commercials and stuff like that up there. But if anybody, citizens, department heads, would like to use that channel, our communications person, among other jobs that he has, is Justin Tibbles over there. Get in touch with him. We would love to get community content up on the city site. Pothole repair, State Highway. I think what you read was a new article. It's pretty recent? Okay. So what they're telling you is where PennDOT is picking up from last year when they did come through Chester. So the state highways in Chester would be 9th Street, Highland Avenue, Morton Avenue, Edgemont. Yeah, so they did the paving last year. 22nd Street, anywhere else? Am I missing anything? Flower Street.
Madison to
Yeah. So it's interesting that you would have that comment, though, because I was talking to a lady who is on the other side of Morton Avenue on 9th Street, which didn't get paved. And her comment was similar to yours. They're paving, but they didn't go all the way through the city, and that's because 13 makes that left turn on Morton Avenue and becomes Route 13 on out. So what you're reading is a new article. It's probably the areas that they're picking up from the work they did last spring. Was it spring that they did that work last year? And you had mentioned about the city hall being shut down for a power outage. I wasn't quite sure your point, but the city wasn't closed. I certainly was here. We put out a notice. Justin, do you remember? We put out a notice how people could get in touch with us. Yeah. So what we will never do is, in the event of a snowstorm, power outage, anything like that, City Hall will never shut down. There will always be some communication as to how to reach City Hall. Are you talking about snow days? Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we've had 2 snow days and a power outage all in the first month, I think it was. But whatever the case may be, City Hall operations, I have to admit, we're going to do a better job at communicating that, but just be aware that if you go on the website, and I know everybody doesn't go on websites, but there will be a means to get in touch with somebody in City Hall in the event of City Hall being closed. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. Livia Smith asked about approving bills or bill payment. She used to see, or we used to have the check run from the month of the city council meeting. That really isn't approving bills. That's just showing everybody what checks were cut. We've had this discussion many, many times. Based on the approval of the budget at the beginning of the year, it kind of gives the authority for all departments to make the adequate payments that they have to make throughout the year. We have our CFO back there, Mr. Lathrop. Would you want to say anything with regard to posting bills for approval? And if you do, you have to come to a microphone. So for those of you who don't know Mr. Jim Lathrop, he is our Chief Financial Officer. He tries to stay under the radar. Okay.
Thank you.
He's not under the radar any longer. Yeah. So when you see him in the street, because he lives in the city, say hi to Jim.
Yes. So we do post them on the receiver's website. All the checks get posted. We have a process of approvals between myself, chief of staff, and the receiver. There's a multi-faceted check, and we do post all the checks that we issue, other than payroll checks, to the receiver's website, so you can find them there. Correct. Yes. I think that is something that we need to talk to Jason about. I know they've been... Justin. Again, I'm new. I know they're doing modifications to the city's website, and that is one of the things that I have asked to include, as well as we'll be starting to do quarterly financial reports to the town council starting in April. So again, to give you some additional information about where the city is on a financial setting.
Thank you. Mr. Cotman, you asked about body cams, and thank you for your comment. The body cams are rolling out throughout the police force. Not everyone has been trained on the body cams, so if you see an officer who doesn't have a body cam, that's why. They have to go through training on there. And you really touched on a sensitive button right here, and that's our relationship with the Chester Housing Authority. It's definitely a concern of mine. I can tell you my time on council, I haven't seen a lot of interaction between the city and the housing authority among council members. I'm not sure if the mayor had, meetings or regular updates on what was going on with the Chester Housing Authority. I will say that just last week, we had the regional folks from the Housing and Urban Development, in my office, and one of the topics that came up was the Chester Housing Authority. We learned some very interesting news with regard to the Housing Authority, and I'll just save that for a little later. But with regard to your camera question, I will follow up on that personally to find out what's going on. Do expect to see a stronger relationship between Chester City government and the Chester Housing Authority. I will say there's some things going on there that, because it is an authority of the city, we should be much more aware of than how we've been in the past, and a lot more public in sharing issues and concerns that come up in our housing authority. We have a lot of people in our city that live in public housing. We have a lot of people on the waiting list with regard to public housing. We have a lot of public housing that's boarded up. None of that squares with me. So, Council Lady Williams. The directorships for council members was a decision made in the courts that council persons will not be directors. I understand your point, because that's what the city has been challenging all along, that the Chester Charter does not match up very cleanly with the receiver's authority. But it appears that the concern for getting our city on a strong financial footing has trumped all other issues. So the authority that the receiver has will supersede the areas of the city charter and allow him and his team to do what they need to do for the time that they're here to get the city straight financially. When they're gone, we can go back to being whatever we want, and that's decided right up here with the input from you guys. So it is not, I think the term you used, forever and ever and ever. It is only during this period of receivership or plan of adjustment, or, all those fancy words our receiver used. Anything to add to that, Mr. Receiver? That was about it.
Question. Are there any quarterly reports that the receiver is going to put out to the community? Are you already putting out any quarterly reports, since letting the community know where we are financially? I know you share with us, but is there anything going out to the community? You may already do it, but I'm asking.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Yes, we are required by the Commonwealth Court to report financial reports every quarter. The third quarter report was released, I believe, beginning of this month. We're currently working on the fourth quarter 2023 report. They're available on our website, and I can see to it that copies are forwarded to you.
Okay.
Give us your website, please.
www.chesterreceivership.com.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And Mr. Williams. Drainage. There is a difference between sewage and stormwater. So the drains you see on the street are stormwater drains. That's the water that rain would run into the street, go down the curb, go into that drain. That's what I think you're speaking of. There is a stormwater authority in this city that's responsible for stormwater management. A couple points that you made with regard to who pays and who doesn't. The city of Chester, because of some determinants that the Environmental Protection Agency has put in place, must have a stormwater, must handle stormwater. So how stormwater is managed has become a question ever since the creation of the Stormwater Authority, because some would argue that the company that handles our sewage here, which is Delcora, is also doing stormwater management. They're doing different things, but you have two agencies, two authorities actually. One is a county authority, that being Delcora. One is a city authority, that being the Stormwater Authority of Chester, performing stormwater management. So if you've got two entities doing the same work, you're going to pay both of them. In terms of Delcora is concerned, there's a rider. I think it's maybe $4 or $5 a month. And as far as Delcora, Stormwater Authority, they have their own billing system for the services that they provide. As far as the tree on top of your roof or your house, if it's your tree, you need to trim it. If it's your neighbor's tree, you have every right to trim the branches that are coming off of that tree that's on your property. Any other comments from council?
That's everybody but mine.
Who was that?
Mr. Nelson. I just asked everybody to smile. Just everybody.
From the looks of things, I think you were very effective in your comments. I see smiles across the room. Thank you for the positive words. Hold the mic up.
Ms. Smith, it's my understanding that stormwater and Delcora do different things. Can you just comment on that a little bit?
Delcora is sewage. Now, for those of you who don't know what a sewage is when you flush your toilet, turn on your sink, and it goes down your drain and goes down to the pipes. Stormwater comes from, like it's raining today, comes off your roof and goes down into the drains that's on the street. We have combined drains, so therefore stormwater and wastewater can go into one particular drain, and it can cause havoc if it is not properly maintained. Therefore, stormwater was initiated in order for it to maintain these drains, so we do not have the flooding that would put toxins back on the street that would be harmful to individuals. Okay, it was mandated that a stormwater authority be done because we're at the bottom of the row. If y'all can understand how water flows downhill, and if you go to Aston at some point in time down the Concord Road, you will be able to see how we're on an incline. So all water runs down, and Chester will be the last line to be able to get affected by all the rain that takes place. Just imagine if everybody flushed their toilet at the same time of the day, what would happen to our drains? And it's raining outside. So that's a brief of it. Okay? That answers some of your...
Thank you. And I know that in the beginning, before, when the thought of creating stormwater was being talked about, the city was not in a financial condition to handle stormwater runoff. And if you remember down on 7th Street near 7th and Norris, where the underpass is, where the electric company is, you always had great floods there. A lot of flooding on Ingle Street, which we're trying to take care of, and other areas down on 9th Street as you go into, before you get into Trainer. And there were a lot of areas that were flooding. And the water was coming down from Aston, Chester Township, down, collecting down in Chester. So, and the city could not afford to put in new equipment like drains and things like that, you know. So therefore, the Stormwater Authority was created on the premise that they would handle, you know, all of the needs where it came to, as it relates to stormwater runoff, you know. And I know some of you you live here in this city, you know the areas that used to flood, and they're no longer flooding. Right? I beg your pardon? Yeah, when you get a significant rain, yes, yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right, we can't, the people online can't hear you back there.
Well, I could get up and go.
You don't have to get up, thank you. Any comments from council? Come up to the microphone, please. Name, address.
Danielle Cunningham, East 24th Street. With regards to the stormwater, is there a report required to show, I guess, the efficacy, like the efficiency of establishing a stormwater authority, I guess, after having them versus before having them? Like, or are we just saying, hey, we have the stormwater authority, it's working, but we don't have any numbers or reports to support it?
Okay, that's a good question.
I'm sure there, Ms. Smith, if one wanted to get information on the efficiency of having the stormwater as opposed to not having one, they can get that information from
The Stormwater Authority, located on 5th Street, 31 East 5th Street.
Okay.
I'm allowing this conversation because it is a very touchy subject out on these streets. And Andrew, introduce yourself, your address, and your role with the Stormwater Authority.
Good afternoon, or good morning, everybody. My name is Andrew Nelson. My address is 305 East 24th Street, and I am the Chief Financial Officer for the Stormwater Authority. So I wanted to speak a little bit, just real fast, to give a quick explanation on what's going on. So Chester has the oldest infrastructure. Everybody can understand our history. We're the oldest city in Pennsylvania, right? When the city was developed, the engineers at the time created a combined sewer system. The combined sewer system was ran and managed by Delcora. Delcora kind of has competing interests because Delcora cleans their water based on volume, right? So if you think of it like the more water that goes into Delcora's system, the higher their cost is going to become. Because we have a combined sewer system, Delcora installed shutoff valves to ensure that when we have large rain events, they're shutting off the intake of the water coming into the system. That created and added to the flooding that we had. So when those shutoff valves would come on, the water that's supposed to go into the storm drains are not going in there because Delcora needed to decrease the amount of capacity that they were taking in. The Stormwater Authority then went ahead and said, okay, we're going to separate from the combined sewer system, create independent outfalls so that the water can go through the storm drains and actually drain back into the Delaware River filtered properly. That's where the difference comes in on where Delcora has a part and the Stormwater Authority has a part. Councilwoman spoke on the fact that the city of Chester didn't have the funds to invest in the infrastructure. The reality is that we see all across the United States, infrastructure is failing and nobody's coming to save us. Nobody. So the Stormwater Authority was established to be able to take care of the city's infrastructure. And the job is being done. Now, when there are rain events, there are significant amounts of times and places where we still have accumulation. That's based on flow. We're working that out. But the reality is that the efficiency of the stormwater system It's in the pudding, right? We could look around the city and see that the city's not flooding. Vine Street Expressway was flooded out 2 years ago. It was not accessible, right? Chester did not have that problem. It's a testament to the authority. If you come to the authority, 23 East 5th Street, that's the payment center. We have brochures that show all of the work we've done up until now, documentation, the storm drains that were upgraded, the catch basins underneath the storm drains that were replaced, and then the lateral pipes that were upgraded. So the industry standard today for lateral pipes is 24 inches. When the Stormwater Authority was established, there was a lot of parts of the city that had 10-inch pipes. We were operating less than 50% capacity. That's no longer the case. But infrastructure is not free. So a big portion of the payments that we make from the Stormwater Authority goes to the loans for the infrastructure. If you guys have more questions, I'll be glad to answer them. And we do have reports that come out from our engineers, as well as we did send a brochure to all of the ratepayers. We have copies of that brochure inside of our office, and we will gladly distribute it to anyone who has questions.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't the place for your question. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew.
Tthank you, Mayor.
Where did y'all put the catch basin? Where did we put the catch basin?
Andrew. Thank you.
Put no catch basin. Put that line in there.
Any other comments from council?
And a catch basin in the city in 30 years. We put the last one on 30 Street down there.
All right, Mr. Williams.
Brand new pipe come on.
Mr. Williams, he'll be available after the meeting.
So we put it there.
All right, thank you.
Um,
And before you go, please take Mr. Nelson up on his offer, Miss Livia Smith up on her offer. If you want information on what the Stormwater Authority is doing, go to the Stormwater Authority and ask. Mr. Geo Stockman, you have to.
My name's Geo Stockman. I stay at 209 East 13th Street. I wanted to ask a question specifically to.
We're not doing Q&A.
I just to what she said, so I could get a little clarity. She said that the city didn't have enough money to fix the infrastructure, so the Stormwater Authority was formed. It was my understanding that the Stormwater Authority was formed with money that was borrowed or something, or a sum of money. Why wasn't that money just used to fix it as opposed to starting a whole authority to assess it if we already knew? Why we didn't just use the money to start authority to fix it? I was kind of curious to that.
Okay. All right, so those are questions that you asked the Stormwater Authority. We okay?
Yes. You ready for
Yours? Yeah.
Okay. I just want to put a reminder out to people in the community that we need to step up our game in terms of recycling. And we need to make sure that we are not commingling. And we need to make sure, and I'm sure there are steps being taken to make sure that the trash vendor, JP Mascara, is not commingling the recycling with the trash, okay? And then we have an effort going on here. We're making sure that we here at City Hall, I think there's an effort to get some trash recycling cans for inside of City Hall to make sure that we too are recycling. I'd like to introduce Ms. Rothwell. She's our new recycle coordinator.
Oh, yes.
Welcome. And Mr., I know that the staff in the Public Works Department are making every effort to make sure that you're onboarding properly and that you have all the support that you need. And if there's anything that I can do, I'm not the director anymore, but I still support everyone here at City Hall. Also, there was a comment made about inspectors out on the street. I didn't hear anything, and Ms. Judy Richards is the director of the inspectors, licensing and inspections, and I think you oversee the inspectors, correct? So I didn't know if you know, I mean, there's every every meeting, there's a comment about, people not seeing inspectors. So I'm sure they're out there, and, I don't know if anyone can enlighten us as to what they're doing, how the assignments are made. Maybe you might want to talk to people about that.
So the way the housing inspectors are working is any complaints that come into the department, they try and respond within a day or two. Other than that, with the new systematic program that's up and running, right now we probably have about 3,000 files in our office that we are trying to schedule inspections for, and that's what our inspectors are doing. They're out doing the systematic inspections. In addition to any homes that are being sold in the city of Chester, pre-sale inspections need to be done. We've gone back and printed off county reports for the last year. Anybody that did not have a pre-sale inspection done on their property prior to its selling, we are also contacting them with violation letters. They will then be paying and requesting their inspections be set up. So we are extremely busy out there. We're not just walking the streets looking for issues. However, as they are out there doing their housing inspections or pre-sale inspections or complaint inspections, if they do see things wrong, they do have field reports with them, and those are filled out, violations are being sent. So as they are going from one job to the other, they are following up with complaints and finding more issues within the city. Right now, we are, if you did not receive one, but right now the inspectors are hitting very hard on stop work orders. If you are doing work in the city of Chester and you did not get your permits, you may want to stop by and get your permits because they are out there. And if a stop work order is issued on your property, any permit that you need, all the fees are doubled. So any more questions, just stop by and see me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don't go anywhere. I have a question.
You ask me questions every day.
So it's interesting that you said that your inspectors are out to do specific tasks every day. We really don't have anybody roaming the city trying to find or identifying problems. But that's what we need you guys for. As you go around the city and you see issues that you think should be addressed, particularly by our license and inspection department, how would they register that complaint with your department?
They can just stop in the office, fill out the complaint form. They can go online. They can email rental registration at chestercity.com and put your complaint in that way as well. I answer those emails every day.
Did you get one from me today?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
She hasn't looked at her email
Not yet.
But, when I'm roaming around town, I've got the camera out and take pictures.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of cheating because I should go through the documentation
The
phase.
proper
I guess I get a
procedures,
couple.
yes.
Yeah, I should go through proper procedures.
And we have a field inspector in the Public Works Department, Mr. Red. And I know a lot of times he brings things to your attention as well. But I'd like to see him, and I'm only suggesting that Mr. Red be given some type of enforcement authority, so that when he goes out, he can tell people to stop work, but he has no enforcement authority. So maybe that's something. I know the inspectors in Public Works at one time did have enforcement powers. I don't know what it would take now under this new.
Stop work orders have to be signed by, right now, it's Chief of Staff Leitner. It's a building code official that has to issue the stop work order.
Okay.
So
So he still would just, okay.
Yep, he would still have to contact us.
Because he runs into a lot of things out there, as you know.
Even our housing inspectors right now, the code enforcement officers, they can put up a stop work order. When they put up the stop work order, it is signed by the BCO. When they put up the stop work order, pictures are taken, pictures are sent immediately, so the BCO is aware of what's going on.
And I'm sorry, Mayor, but when someone sees, it could be me or whoever, and we see a lot of activity on the street where people are doing additions to their structure, you know, adding on, sometimes going up really like higher than the other dwellings in the area. So, and sometimes when an inquiry is made, they haven't gone to planning and zoning, you know. So their first stop is to planning and zoning. I get confused when we see that they've already done it without the proper credentials. You know, they didn't do it the right way. You know, what happens to?
If they didn't do it, follow the correct steps and procedures, and depending on what it is, we can make them rip everything down and start over. You are talking an extreme amount of money. In some cases like that, if they're adding on an entire second floor or a room, we can make them rip everything down, depending on where they're at. We try not to do that because we understand, you know, a lot of costs involved in that, but we need to make sure they're not moving forward either. So that's why the stop work order is issued. The inspectors do keep an eye on those properties. If they're, you know, depending on how much time they've given them, we just had our meeting this morning. Sometimes they're given 24 hours to come in and get the permits. If they don't come in and get the permit in that allotted time, citations are being done. We are going right to citations now faster than we've done before. You know, we need to crack down and make sure people start following the procedures. We're not
'Cause I
out
see
there
them
looking to
working
hurt
on-
anybody. We just need to make sure you're following the procedures. We're making sure the inspections are done.
Right.
We have people that put up drywall. Well, no, all the drywall now has to come down, not just one piece so we can investigate. The entire room, all the drywall needs to come down because we need to see where the wiring is, the plumbing is, was it inspected? So it can turn into an extreme amount of money for the homeowner or who's ever doing the work. So that's what I'm saying. Get out there and get your permits before we find you.
Because on the weekend and at night, I see a lot of activity.
And unfortunately, we're done working at 4:30. And people know that. They try and work after hours. You know, there's, on weekends, unless we go by and see piles of debris outside, which a lot of people do that, well, now we know you're doing work.
Right.
We do have the authority to go into that property and take pictures of what was going on. And if that determines permits were not pulled, you will be receiving a stop work order. It'll be going right to citation. You can be fined up to $1,000 a day.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to ask those questions because I get a lot of questions like that, and I see a lot when I'm riding around. I'm not a director of a department, but I'm still looking out for my city, so.
Yeah, that was really important information, and it's, you know, we need you guys as the eyes and ears, but what most important is to report what you see, and we do have a straight point of contact. One of the things it's kind of the last thing she said, you can tell when people are doing renovations because they usually are gutting out a house and putting the rubbish, the building materials on the front porch in the backyard. That's not even allowed. They're supposed to have dumpsters. So please, those are the things that I really need you guys to keep an eye on. It becomes an eyesore, it becomes a health hazard, it becomes a hazard in general for the neighbors on the block if somebody's just ripping out a whole living room, dining room, and throwing it on the front porch and the backyard. Those things are easy to see and report. Thank you, Ms. Richards.
Responsible for the permit, the homeowner or the contractor? I know the answer, but I'm quite sure a lot of people don't.
All right, that's,
Ultimately, the owner of the property is responsible for anything on that property. Okay?
all right. The question for those of you who didn't hear it is who has to get the permit, the owner or the contractor? The owner is responsible, but if you had a good contractor, it's the contractor who comes to City Hall and gets their permits for the work they're going to do.
Right.
The last thing you want is somebody to be putting in a sidewalk, putting in some electrical, some plumbing, a new roof, and they didn't get the permit, and you as the homeowner who hired this contractor, you don't know. But you would be the one responsible for paying the fee and the accelerated penalties on that fee. And then you got to run around and chase down your contractor. So, you know, to the best extent that you can, get yourself a good licensed contractor with referrals. Moving on, inaugural prayer is coming up tomorrow. I'm so glad that our chaplain is here, Miss Lisa Dennis. Can you just explain what's going on tomorrow? I see it's an inaugural prayer for our newly elected mayor and city council members. I just don't want people to think it's just going to be us there, so I'm sure it's an open invitation to the community.
Yes, good morning, everyone. It is an open invitation for everyone. I was invited last week. Philadelphia did an inaugural prayer for their newly elected mayor and council, and I said, well, Chester can do the same thing. And so that's what we're doing tomorrow at 10 a.m. At St. Catherine Drexel Catholic Church, 1920 Providence Avenue at 10 a.m. We will be there. It's a ceremonial prayer, and I'm glad that everyone of our mayor and our city council persons will be there. And we are also offering 3 points of prayer, unity, peace, and healing, and also includes our commissioners, fire, police, EMS, community at large. So if you're available, please come tomorrow, 10 a.m. Thank you for the space and the time, and I look forward to doing more interfaith and community endeavors in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's work. Our Director of Public Health, Ms. Rosetta Carter, has set up a booster clinic today. Yes. It's going on right now. Starts at 11 to 2. So before you go home, we got the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine available, flu, RSV, shingles as well. And that's down in the computer room, which is right beside the community room.
And also, Mayor, we have the blood pressure screening.
Microphone, please, microphone.
I just wanted to say thank you very much for announcing that, Mayor. In addition to the clinic, we also have blood pressure screening because February is Heart Month. And you need to know your rates, and the wider university nursing students are available downstairs. So please, when you go out, take the time to get your blood pressure taken. And I say last week, the mayor did come down to get his blood pressure taken. Thank you, Mayor.
I am not going to reveal my results. The pressure of this job. On your way out at the table, you'll see this little flyer. We did a lunch, what do we call it? Lunch with the mayor a couple weeks ago. The topic was block captains. It went so well, we're going to repeat it again. So if anybody's interested in helping us form a block captain situation here in the city, it's Wednesday, March 4th. But please take a flyer. In the future, that table, or maybe one a little smaller, will be outside council chambers. So all the announcements, signing up for public comment, all that will be outside. And anything you guys would like to put on the table for people that would come to city council, you can drop it on the table as well. I did say this. I said the 4th? Oh, well, I meant the 6th. I'm sorry. Thank you for checking, Ms. Benita.
You didn't mention about the women's conference. I'm sorry.
Okay, there's a women's conference.
Yeah. Our women's conference is going to be on March 23rd. This is the city's second annual Health Women Conference. And the keynote speaker this year is the former ABC anchor, Lisa Thomas Laurie. It's free, it's no cost. So please come and join us on March.
Hold on. Where is it again?
It's going to be at St. Luke's Christian Community Church.
This is the same event you had at
Yes.
Latham Hall last year.
Right.
Let me tell you, you want to come.
Right, and because so many people were there, over 250. So again, come out, ask questions. Okay, Lisa Thomas Laurie, she was misdiagnosed for 2 years. So please come out, and thank you very much. Time is 9 a.m., and you can go on our website because the flyer is there as well. Please register. You'll have free breakfast as well as free lunch. But come out and get to know more about your health, and God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I got to say, that was an amazing event last year. If there's nothing else from council, I went to the women's conference. It was great. They were doing Zumba and all that stuff. Meeting adjourned. I'm getting better with the formality of it all. Just haven't had enough practice. I lost my bet. I lost again. I do.